My name is Morgan Gallrup, and I'm going to be... Thank you for viewing my professional development conference. My name is Morgan Gallrup, and I'm going to be talking to you about intellectual freedom and why it's important for young adults to have this in our libraries. Before we can dig deeper into intellectual freedom and what its importance in young adults' lives, we need to first understand what intellectual freedom actually is. Emily Calkins, who is a teen services librarian and frequent online blogger, described it as the responsibility to provide access to a wide variety of materials that represent many viewpoints and to help users find materials to fit their needs. But whose responsibility is it really? Well, that's anyone who has any input in the education of young adults, so teachers, school board members, administrators, and library media specialists such as ourselves. But why do young adults need to practice intellectual freedom? Well, adolescence is a time when drastic neurological, psychological, emotional, and social changes are happening, as you can see from the different theories on the slide. This is a very important time in their lives, especially when they develop self-sufficiency and independence. If young adults don't get the opportunity to form well-researched opinions and use intellectual freedom, they cannot really become informed citizens of our society. To be able to promote or protect intellectual freedom in your library, you need to consider yourself and your beliefs first and foremost. Take a few minutes to complete this checklist to see what your strengths and your weaknesses are in self-censorship or intellectual freedom. Feel free to pause the video. By completing this checklist, you probably noticed that you have to consider your library and your library's policies, like the collection development policy. There should be room for diversity and a well-rounded collection. Consider the community where the library is surrounded by. The collection should be representative of that community, as well as including any other viewpoints, beliefs, experiences that are not the majority. This will give teens and young adults the ability to form opinions based on facts that they find and believe. Also, the staff must be considered. Intellectual freedom is taught in library preparation programs, but many members of our staff or other educational colleagues may not know about this important aspect of the library. In all seriousness, though, the biggest way to promote and protect intellectual freedom is to get your patrons involved. The biggest way to promote and protect intellectual freedom is to get the patrons involved. One way is to highlight the books that have been challenged or banned. Give the patrons banned books and have them discuss why or why not the book should be banned. Healthy debates can help patrons to learn how to discuss and respectfully listen to differing opinions. You can encourage the different strengths of patrons, like getting them to be creative as well. Have them make posters, presentations, poems, bookmarks, other things that get them involved in the library. They can also write book reviews to get other patrons involved. Many times books or other materials are challenged for their content in the library. As librarians, we have to be prepared in how we can respond to these challenges, always putting intellectual freedom at the forefront of our conversations. I'd like you to take a moment to think about what your reaction would be if someone challenged a decision you've made about a book in your library. Think back about your responses on the checklist. Your opinions may have changed since taking the checklist. The American Library Association outlines many ways to effectively communicate with parents or the other staff when they challenge a book. Addressing these challenges requires a balance of carefully crafted library policy, knowledge and understanding of intellectual freedom principles, and a sensitivity to the community's needs and concerns. First and foremost, always stay calm. While this may seem like a given, it may be a first response to get caught up and show emotion when someone challenges your collection development policies and, frankly, your decisions. And second, remember these 3 key points of the purpose of a library. Libraries provide ideas and information across the spectrum of social and political views. This means that the library is well-rounded with the information they provide. The second point is libraries are one of our great democratic institutions. They provide a freedom of choice for all people. That includes young adults. And lastly, parents are responsible for supervising their own children's library use. That means we can provide the information, but if parents feel that their child shouldn't be reading something, they have the right to veto that. Also, look at your handout that I provided. There are some questions on there that are frequently asked by parents and other staff. Knowing the answer to these questions specifically about your library and your policies will help you to be prepared for a situation like this.
For sake of time, I'm not going to read through the following scenarios, but I want you to read through them and decide what you would do, and then read the suggested response to see what the research says is appropriate. Feel free to pause the video at any time. Always use common sense when allowing children to take out different materials. And also, as librarians, we can provide assistance in making summer reading lists or other events or holidays lists for children to take out books. I wanted to thank you for viewing my professional development conference. Please take a look at the handout I've created, as that will give you materials for further reading and other ways to promote and protect this important library topic of intellectual freedom.